the church away. I will start a new church. Please come and help me. This is the situation behind the scene. Many places. Are you with me? Access to heaven. God has to give us access to heaven. This man needs to have access to heaven again. So I told him, hey, walk with me. So he said, okay, preach in my church tomorrow morning. I preached four services. All 4 services, people came in because too many people for the building. 4 services, total explosion. The whole church exploded. His jaw just dropped. He asked me, how do you do that? I said, I don't do that. But if you walk with him, have access to heaven, if you speak what you hear, people will explode. Because it's a word of life. It's a spirit of life. It's rivers of life. People will wake up and come alive. And people came to me after that, and it's not because of me. I'm not boasting. It can happen to anybody. The secret is access to heaven. There will be morning phases. I will come back to that after the lunch break. But the key is access to look into heaven long enough, deep enough, until what you see gets you. If it does not get you, you will go nowhere. You will be just a happy, nice Christian, forgiving, singing good songs, behaving well in church, behaving the way you want to behave the rest of the week, but in church you behave well, of course, because God is there. God is there all the time. Amen? Am I stretching you this morning? It's okay. Is it okay to stretch you? That's why you came. Amen? By you coming, you told me, Philip, challenge us, stretch us, put some demands on us. We want to grow. We want God to produce stature in our lives. So when the day of His power comes, we can volunteer immediately. Psalm 110. On the day of His power, there is a generation of people who will volunteer, which means they have been already trained. You cannot volunteer immediately if you're not trained for it. Some people will wake up when the day of His power comes. Others will volunteer immediately because God has already done something in their lives. This is the season right now. Are you with me? So this access to heaven is very important. That pastor had lost it. What a situation. Preach every Sunday morning, 4 times. Nothing to say. Just opinions. Just thoughts about the Bible. And after the 4 services, he said, okay, Philip, let's work together. I will do whatever I want. I want this. I want to live like you live. I want to preach like you preach. I want to come into that type of life. I say, you can come anytime, Pastor. Anytime. It can start now. It can start 5 minutes ago. It's open for everybody. You should be the one, of any in the church, you should be the one having access to heaven. Can you imagine a pastor, no access to heaven? Yeah. 3 days later, I got a mail from him. Thank you for what you did in our church. But from now on, I don't want to have anything to do with you. I don't want you to preach in my church. I don't want you to visit us. Don't call me. Like the American movies, don't call me, I will call you. Don't call me, I don't want anything. And I wrote to him, what happened? He said, I cannot walk this walk. This is too difficult. And then somebody, his superior, his so-called spiritual father, forbid him to have anything to do with me. I say, Pastor, who is your father? Is it the Father in heaven or is this a Pharaoh on earth? With pastor, I'm very honest. Also with pastors, very honest. A father is not a Pharaoh. So say, God touched you, God called you, God invited you, God wanted to give you a new chance. My goodness, go for it. You're responsible. You're accountable to God. If your spiritual father is not happy about it, then let me meet him. Yeah, let's talk together. I'm a spiritual father too. Let the fathers talk together. And let's settle the matter for the children. Because God has called you. Are you with me? So this is so important, the access to heaven. If you know how many pastors don't have it. So if your pastor has it, be happy. Yes. Amen? Amen? Are you listening to me? Yes. It takes more than access to heaven. Of course, we have to align with heaven. But if the access decreases, you have to be careful. If the access to heaven decreases, everything will decrease. And then we can be tempted, listen to me, we can be tempted to compensate through human works what is not happening in a divine way. Are you with me? When the level of the Spirit decreases, when the connection, the access to heaven decreases, when sometimes we want to compensate for this absence with something else, which is birthed in our own, something human. This is very wrong, because this is the beginning of religion and idolatry. I will come back to that later. Are you with me? So sometimes we make a lot of things just because we want to fill the space. But you cannot replace God. Nothing can replace him. Then pastors. I mean, I've seen that. Now you might say, but Philip, I'm not the pastor. I know you're not the pastor. But listen anyway. Because the same thought pattern can be in church members. I can see when pastors are doing well, God is working with them, and suddenly they go for some diplomas from some Christian university in America, and they take some degrees in this and that. Then I have a thought. Maybe the connection with heaven is decreasing. Because if you live with God, why do you need a degree in systematic theology? Now, I don't want to offend anybody if somebody has a degree in systematic theology or missiology or Christology. I know the terminology. It's okay. But it can never replace access to heaven. It's okay to go to Bible school, to get some biblical information, but if your connection with heaven decreases, you cannot replace the absence with the presence of knowledge. Are you with me? Biblical knowledge. You cannot do that. You need to walk with him. Amen? Are you understanding what I'm saying? So we have to watch certain things. A pastor said to me, but Philip, I'm just adding some theological training to my spiritual training. I said, be careful with that, because your theological training might undermine what God has formed and worked to produce in your heart. So we have to be very careful with that. Are you with me? Sometimes it's just to have a title, because pastor is not good enough. Then you have to have pastor, and then under pastor, PhD, and blah, 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 Z, X, Y. And to, improve your image and give you build a platform. Let God give you a platform. Amen. Walk with him. That will produce a platform. If you walk with him and listen to his voice, when you speak, people will listen to your voice. There will be an authority built in your words, because you live with him and walk with him and take it seriously with him. Are you with me? Are you listening to me? Okay, we'll stop here.